Hello everyone, it's Chris. I just had a great lunch at the Silo in Lewiston, right on the Lewiston waterfront, right along the lower Niagara River. And it was great for a couple of reasons. One, the location is just fantastic. Even though it's a hot summer day, the breeze is just really nice when you're right there on the water. The food was just fantastic. I had a famous haystack sandwich, which is a steak sandwich with cheese and hash browns on it. But the real reason why it was great was I was having lunch with a couple of new friends. You might be noticing that my setup is a little bit different. My cup holder is normally here, and I don't have Apple carpuride or whatever this is, and I don't have the green color Spyder. And the reason for that is this is not my Spyder. That's my Spyder, right up in front of us. This is a Sea to Sky. So let me explain. So I have a couple of new friends in town who answered a call on a video that I posted on YouTube a while back. This might have been a couple of months ago. And in that video, I was speculating on what are the real differences between the Sea to Sky and the RT or the RT Limited, particularly when it comes down to the seat. Because as far as I'm concerned, that is the major difference. Now, I always thought that the Sea to Skies had adjustable wind deflectors, and my guess is that some of them do, depending on the model year. But this Sea to Sky does not have adjustable wind deflectors. It has dual wind deflectors. Mine doesn't have, I guess, this one, but they're not adjustable. And I thought that was odd, but my guess is it depends on the model year, and I believe this is a 2021. This one came with luggage, but the luggage never really appealed to me because it just takes up space. The big thing for me, when I was back before March 13th, when I bought that RT Limited dead ahead, the big difference to me was the seat. I ended up buying the RT Limited, but I wondered if I had bought the Sea to Sky, would it have been that much better? So on one of my videos that ran, I think, a couple of months ago on YouTube, I speculated on what I just said, and I shouted out, I said, hey, if anyone in Western New York has a Sea to Sky, if you're up for it, I'd love to do a comparison video where we would switch motorcycles. You'd ride my RT Limited, I'd ride your Sea to Sky, and we do a discussion on the differences. Well, someone responded immediately, only he's not from Western New York. He's from Central Texas. And so in front of the Spyder is Brian. You can see him now on a Goldwing. He's pulling a trailer behind him. And between Brian and myself is his lovely wife Brandy, who's riding my RT Limited. I am riding the Sea to Sky. We're heading to Fort Niagara, and basically we're trying to get a comparison on these seats. I want to know what Brandy thinks of riding an RT Limited with the standard seat, and I'm going to tell you what I think of the Sea to Sky seat. And I'll just give you a little hint. There is a difference. There's obviously a difference. They're not going to charge a couple of $1,000s more for a meaningless seat difference. Now, I've only been on this since we just pulled out of this. This is my first ride on the Sea to Sky, leaving the Lewiston landing area. So I've been on this for probably a mile. So I'm certainly not an expert on the Sea to Sky, and I'm in no position to give you a comparison. But during their visit, which is today and tomorrow, we're going to put both of these machines through the paces. And both Brandy and I, and Brandy's husband Brian, are gonna give you our opinions on, because all three of us will have a take, because they've both ridden the Sea to Sky. They will have by that time both ridden the RT Limited, and we'll give you a candid discussion. So if you are in the market for a Can Am Spyder RT and you're wrestling as I did before I bought the RT Limited right in front of us, if you're wrestling with, gee, how much of a difference are the seats? And that's the purpose of this video. And these folks, and you're going to meet them very soon, Brian and Brandy came up from Central Texas on a long journey. So they spent a lot of time and a lot of miles on this Sea to Sky seat. And so I can't wait to hear what both of them have to say about the RT Limited seat and the differences. And by the end of this video, you'll have a real good handle on the differences between the two. Okay, so it's another day and we're back at it. Brian is in the lead on the Goldwing. Brandy is in the middle with my RT Limited, and I am on her Sea to Sky, as you can see. I've got probably 2 hours in the Sea to Sky saddle now. There's definitely a difference. We're going to talk a little bit about how big a difference it is and some other differences. For instance, I've got a backrest on my RT Limited. There's no backrest on the Sea to Sky, and I feel that. Spending the last hour and a half and about a half an hour yesterday on this thing, I feel the difference. So I'm glad I've got the backrest. We'll talk a little bit about the differences, the nuance between the two models. What we're going to do is I'm going to show them. We are now in Letchworth State Park. Took us about an hour and a half to get here. I'm going to show them how cool the state park is. Then we're going to find a nice picnic table under a nice shady tree. We're going to sit down. We're going to get out the iPhone and the tripod, and we're going to have a good old-fashioned conversation about the differences between the Sea to Sky and the RT Limited. Hi everybody, it's Chris again, and I'm at a beautiful picnic table in Letchworth State Park with my new friends who I introduced from the road, but meet Brian and his wife Brandy, and I'm going to turn it over to them because they had a long journey getting to Western New York, and I want them to just talk about it.
It's been a great journey. This is my first time riding this distance on any kind of vehicle, and the Spyder is amazing. I mean, I wouldn't be able to do this without the Spyder. So it's been great. Just the control, the maneuverability, the comfort is far surpassing anything I've been on in the past. Awesome. But no, it's great. I'll let Brian give some details of our...
The last overlook that we just stopped at was 3,000 miles. Exactly. Wow. So we've gone 3,000 miles so far, and still got to get back to Texas, which will be right at 6,000. But yeah, it's been awesome.
Well, I'm glad to have you here now, and I'm holding the lavalier mic. Normally we'd clip it, but I only have one, so we're sharing. I hope you understand. But so tell us about the journey up here, because it wasn't just a straight line. You kind of saw parts of the country, and you spent a lot of time in the saddle on the Sea to Sky and on the Goldwing. Just talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, it's comfortable. We left Texas, went through Arkansas, Tennessee, Pennsylvania, went from there through West Virginia, Maryland, Connecticut, all the way up. The comfort has been amazing. I have had very little fatigue, which never happens on a regular motorcycle. It's just been an amazing trip.
Now, Brian, when we had dinner, you mentioned something about during one of your stops, I believe in Lake Placid, you went from the Goldwing to the Sea to Sky. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so what happened, we had been riding all day, and we had gone through Lake Placid, and we got us a little cabin for the night. And it was late in the evening, and so we decided, you know what, let's run on in and grab something to eat. We're about 2 miles out of town. So we decided, since I'm pulling a trailer on my Goldwing, we would just take the Spyder. So I jumped on the Spyder, Brandy jumped on, and immediately, just driving away, was like, you've got to be kidding me, because my Goldwing is comfortable. And on top of that, it's I don't have a stock seat. I have a Ultimate, is what it's called. It's a very comfortable seat, but I could not believe when we jumped on that Spyder and started driving. And also, there's a lot of buckling on these roads in New York, right? I assume it's all because of the cold weather and freezing, I don't know. But either way, I feel every one of those. You barely feel them at all. There's just no feedback on the Spyder, so it was immensely. I was shocked. I mean, it was amazing, the difference. And my Goldwing is comfortable, no question. I can ride that thing all day long. But I was shocked at how comfortable the ride was. So huge difference.
Awesome. So we spent a lot of time on the 3 bikes yesterday, touring Niagara Falls. I showed them some things that probably the average tourist doesn't see when they come to Niagara Falls. But I got to spend about a half an hour maybe total on the Sea to Sky seat yesterday and about an hour and a half coming here this morning. And Brandy spent about a half an hour and about an hour and a half today on the RT Limited seat. But the real purpose of this video was the difference between the Sea to Sky seat and the RT Limited seat, if there is one. So Brandy, you spent thousands of miles and lots of hours on that Sea to Sky seat, both before coming here and on the journey here. And now you've spent a couple of hours on an RT Limited seat. Talk a little bit about your thoughts on that.
I think the main difference that I notice between the seats, the RT is firmer. That's the best way I know to put it. Not uncomfortable by any means, not anything that I would say would be a deal breaker. It just has a firmer feel. Both of our bikes probably have the same amount, close to the same amount of miles on them, so they have about the same break-in time on both vehicles. The Sea to Sky tends to have just a little bit more softness before it hits the firmness, so it's got a little more balance of the two. But I would say by no means it would be a deal breaker.
So I would concur with that. I think they call it dual density in terms of the foam and the Sea to Sky. I believe that's the term they use, and it is noticeable. I noticed that it is softer on the Sea to Sky, and on the RT Limited, when I got off the Sea to Sky and got on the RT Limited, it's a little firmer. I guess what I wrestle with is someone who bought the RT Limited and might buy one of these again in the future is how soft can a seat be before it's soft enough? So to give you an example of what I'm talking about, when I had my KTM, which had a notoriously hard seat, I bought a Airhawk seat cushion, and I used that on the KTM. I still have that Airhawk seat cushion, but one, I've never used it on the Spyder, and two, I've never regretted not having it with me when I travel. I don't regret not having it with me right now because I just don't need it. And so if Can Am, let's say in the next model year or the year after that, said, okay, now we have a Sea to Sky Premium Edition, and for another $1,000 you get an even softer seat, like at what point does it become, okay, the RT Limited is soft enough? And what I'll tell you is I still, if I was going to make the decision again, if I was going to repurchase this, I would buy the RT Limited. There was an Sea to Sky in the showroom of the dealer of Bucks Motorsports that I bought mine from at the time. If they said to me, we will give this to you at the same cost, I might then have said, okay, then I'll take the Sea to Sky. But otherwise, I'm not sure if I'd pay $2,000, $1,000, or $1 more for that seat. However, I've only got, a couple of hours on it. And for folks who've ridden across the country, that would have been the ultimate test.
I wanted to say this. So we didn't buy this new. What happened was we were looking at limiteds and looking at purchasing her one. And I actually, sat on some and, just kind of toying around with the idea. However, what happened was I saw a Facebook ad. It was he was a 75-year-old gentleman in Louisiana, and he put the bike up. His wife, they used to ride motorcycles. They really enjoyed it, but then, they got older and they just quit riding. Well, then his wife started bugging him again. Hey, let's go ride. So he thought, well, I'll get a Spyder, and that's what he did. So he put this thing up with 2,900 miles for a very good price.
Wow.
And it was way cheaper than what I could get a limited for.
Sure.
And so, no brainer.
Easy.
I mean, it was 2,900 miles, and I knew that he didn't drive it crazy. So that's how we wound up with a Sea to Sky. But
So there's another difference between our two vehicles, and it involves an accessory, and that is I've got a backrest on the RT Limited, and there's no backrest on the Sea to Sky. And I will tell you, I noticed that right away. Now, when I bought my RT Limited, I didn't initially plan on getting a backrest. I thought that was almost like a sissy thing because the seat was so comfortable. It already had a little backrest there. And then I went ahead and got one, and I'm so glad I do because just in the couple of hours that I've ridden the Sea to Sky, I've missed the backrest. So you've been riding a Sea to Sky across the country without a backrest, Brandy. And now for the past couple of hours, you've ridden one with a backrest. What are your thoughts on that difference?
It does add some support. For someone that's taller, I'm 5'2", so I sit much more forward than most people would. It's probably less of a factor for me just because of where I sit. But I have noticed, if you need to lean back, it's very nice to have it there. I've enjoyed it.
Okay. Is there anything else we missed that we should discuss?
I don't think so. I think
So we have a lot more of Letchworth State Park to see. This is the Grand Canyon of the East, and we're going to see it. We're going to have a good time, and we'll pick it up shortly. So after our discussion, we checked out some cool sites at Letchworth State Park, and now we're heading back to Niagara Falls. Both Brian and Brandy are behind me. I'm leading the way simply because I know where we're going, sort of. This is a way home way back to Niagara Falls that I'd never taken, but it's a long story. So my wrap up on this is the Sea to Sky is a great motorcycle, and I enjoyed riding it. And it's got some features that are impressive. But just to reiterate, the seat is great. It's very soft, but as is the RT and the RT Limited seat. I think if you can get a really good deal on the Sea to Sky in comparison to the RT Limited, go for it. It's certainly not worse than the RT Limited. It is a better machine. But if it were me doing it all over again, I wouldn't pay extra $2,000 or even $1,000 for that difference. Now, the Sea to Sky badging means nothing to me, but to some people that badging, I never heard of the Sea to Sky Highway prior to doing my research on the Spyder. Never heard of it. But some of you may have it. It might be like this awesome thing to you. Then maybe there's a value in having that premium badge branded onto it. So anyway, we finally at least have a decent comparison between the two seats. You've heard from 3 different people. The Sea to Sky seat is better. It's just marginally so. And having said that, in the middle of the cornfields of West Central New York, if you found this video helpful, if you'd hit like, I sure would appreciate it. If you don't subscribe to my channel, if you would hit subscribe, I would appreciate that just as much. I want to give a big shout out and a big thank you to my new friends from Texas, both Brian and Brandy. And they're heading back tomorrow. I hope they have a very safe trip. And until the next video, which will be a video on riding in the summer heat. But until that video, have a great day.